Man, look, 3 times. 3 separate times Derrick Rose's knee gave out before that night in 2012. 3 times his body screamed stop. 3 times the warning signs were right there, clear as day, impossible to miss. And 3 times everyone, the Bulls training staff, the coaches, the front office, even Rose himself, they all just ignored it. Kept pushing, kept playing, kept acting like those warnings didn't mean a damn thing. And there was this one trainer, Fred Tedeschi, head athletic trainer for the Bulls, guy who'd been with the organization for years, who saw it coming. Saw every single warning sign. Saw the way Rose was landing. Saw the stress building up. Saw the ticking time bomb everyone else refused to acknowledge. And he tried, man. He really tried to sound the alarm. Sent reports to the coaching staff. Had conversations with the front office. Documented every single incident. But nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to slow down their MVP. Nobody wanted to mess with championship expectations. So they didn't listen. And April 28th, 2012, when Rose's knee finally exploded for real, for good, everyone acted shocked. Everyone acted like it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. The warnings were there. 3 of them. Loud and clear. And this is the story of how ignoring those warnings cost Chicago everything. 2010, Derrick Rose's second season in the league. Already a star. Already carrying the Bulls. Already playing like the future of the franchise. November 13th, game against the Pistons in Detroit. Third quarter, Rose drives baseline. Plants his left foot to change direction. And his knee buckles. Not all the way. Not catastrophically. Just buckles. He stumbles. Catches himself. Shakes it off. Keeps playing. Nobody thinks much of it. Happens to players all the time. Tweaks. Minor stuff. Nothing serious. But Fred Tedeschi, watching from the sideline, he sees it different. Sees the way Rose's knee bent. Sees the angle. Sees the micro movement that shouldn't happen in a healthy joint. And after the game, he pulls Rose aside. Man, that didn't look right. We should get that checked out. MRI maybe. Just to be safe. Rose waved him off. Nah, I'm good. Just tweaked it. Feels fine now. And that's it. First warning. Ignored. Tedeschi doesn't let it go, though. He's been doing this for 15 years. He knows what he saw, so he documents it. Writes up a report. Notes the incident. Notes Rose's reluctance to get it examined. Sends it to the coaching staff. Sends it to the front office. Recommends load management. Recommends limiting Rose's minutes until they can confirm everything's structurally sound. And you know what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The Bulls are winning. Rose is dominating. Nobody wants to mess with that. Nobody wants to be the guy who benches the franchise player over a minor tweak. So the report gets filed away, gets forgotten, gets treated like it doesn't matter. Fast forward. January 2011. Rose is playing out his mind now. MVP caliber season. Carrying Chicago to the best record in the East. Playing 37, 38 minutes a game. Every single night. No rest. No back-to-backs off. Tom Thibodeau, the coach, he runs his guys hard. That's his philosophy. Defense. Toughness. Grinding opponents down. And Rose, being Rose, he never complains. Never asks for rest. Never sits when the team needs him. January 27th. Game in Memphis. Fourth quarter. Rose drives hard to the rim. Goran Dragic. No wait. Tony Allen contests. Rose plants. Goes up. Lands awkward. Same left knee. Same buckling motion. Worse this time. Rose grabs it immediately. Grimaces. Stays down for a few seconds. The crowd goes quiet. Teammates look concerned. But then Rose gets up. Shakes it out. Waves off the trainer. Stays in the game. Finishes with 28 points. Bulls win. Everyone moves on. Except Tedeschi. He's not moving on. Because what he just saw, that wasn't a tweak. That was a warning. A serious one. After the game, he doesn't just pull Rose aside. He goes to Thibodeau directly. Coach, we got to talk about Derrick's knee. That's twice now. Same knee. Same motion. We're playing with fire here. Thibodeau listens. Nods. But here's the thing. The Bulls are chasing a championship. They've got the best record in the league. Rose is the MVP frontrunner. You don't sit your MVP. You don't limit his minutes. Not when you're this close. So Thib says keep an eye on it. Monitor it. But unless Derrick says he can't play, he's playing. And that's it. Second warning. Acknowledged. Then ignored. Tedeschi tries a different approach. Goes to Gar Foreman, the general manager. Explains the situation. Explains the risk. Look, I've seen this before. Repetitive stress on the same joint. Same motion. Same area. It's not healing properly between incidents. We need to shut him down for 2 weeks. Let heal completely. Run a full diagnostic. Make sure everything's structurally sound before we push him through the playoffs. Foreman hears him out. Thanks him for the diligence. Then says the same thing Thibodeau said. We can't shut down our MVP during a championship run. Monitor it closely. But he plays unless he physically can't. Second warning. Escalated. Still ignored. Now here's where it gets real interesting. Real frustrating. Tedeschi, he's not just some trainer making wild guesses. This dude's got credentials. Worked with Olympic teams. Trained professional athletes across multiple sports. He knows biomechanics. Knows injury prevention. Knows the difference between normal wear and tear and a developing structural problem. So he does something nobody knows about until years later. He brings in an outside specialist. Sports medicine doctor from Rush University Medical Center. Shows him the game footage. Shows him both incidents. Shows him Rose's landing mechanics. Shows him everything. And the specialist, without even examining Rose directly, he says what Tedeschi already knows. High risk for ACL tear. The way he plants, the force he generates, the angle his knee takes on those cuts, it's textbook ACL injury setup. He's compensating for something. Either there's already minor damage we're not seeing, or the ligaments under extreme stress. Either way, if he keeps playing like this, keeps landing like this, it's not if it tears, it's when. Tedeschi takes this assessment to the Bulls medical director. February 2011. Presents the findings. Presents the specialist's opinion. Recommande immédiate intervention. Recommends altering Rose's playing style. Recommends reducing his minutes. Recommends mandatory rest days. And the medical director, he agrees it's concerning. He agrees the risk is real. But, and there's always a but, the decision isn't medical. It's organizational. It's competitive. And the organization isn't willing to compromise their championship window for a hypothetical injury that might never happen. Third warning. Expert validated. Comprehensively ignored. March 2011. Rose is named MVP. Youngest ever. 22 years old. The city goes crazy. Chicago finally has their guy. Their homegrown superstar. Their next Jordan. The playoffs are coming. Expectations are through the roof. And Rose keeps playing. Keeps attacking. Keeps landing the same way. Keeps putting the same stress on the same knee. Tedeschi watches every game from the sideline. Watches every plant. Watches every cut. Watches every landing. And every single time Rose's foot hits the court at that angle, every single time his knee absorbs that force, Tedeschi flinches. Because he knows. He knows what's coming. He knows it's inevitable. He just doesn't know when. Playoffs start. Bulls are rolling. Rose is incredible. First round, they sweep Indiana. Second round, they beat Atlanta in 6. Eastern Conference Finals against Miami. LeBron, Wade, Bosh. The new big three. This is what Chicago's been building toward. This is Rose's moment. Game 1 in Chicago. Rose plays 42 minutes. Scores 28. Bulls win. Game 2, 44 minutes. Rose is exhausted but effective. Bulls win again. Up 2-1 in the series. Game 3 in Miami. 45 minutes. Rose is limping between timeouts. Not from pain. From exhaustion. From the accumulated stress of carrying a team through the playoffs. They lose. Series tied. Game 4. 46 minutes. Rose is running on fumes. But he's still producing. Bulls lose again. Now they're down 3-2. Facing elimination. Between games 4 and 5, Tedeschi has a conversation with Rose that nobody else hears. Nobody else knows about. He pulls Rose into the training room. Man to man. No coaches. No front office. Just the two of them. Derrick, I know you want to win. I know you want to bring a championship to Chicago. But your body's telling you something. Your knee's telling you something. I've documented 3 separate incidents. I've consulted specialists. Everyone agrees you're at extreme risk. You keep playing like this, keep pushing like this, something's going to give. And when it does, it's not going to be small. It's going to be catastrophic. Rose listens, actually listens. And for the first time, he asks the question everyone's been avoiding. What are you saying? That I should sit? That I should let my team down? Tedeschi doesn't answer right away because he knows what he's asking. He's asking a 22-year-old MVP to choose between his team and his body, between winning now and having a career later, between being a hero and being smart. Finally, he says, I'm saying you need to think long-term. You're 22. You've got 10, maybe 15 years ahead of you. Don't sacrifice all of them for one playoff run. Rose nods, says he understands, says he appreciates the concern, then says exactly what Tedeschi knew he'd say. I gotta play. This is what I'm here for. This is what the city needs. I'll deal with the consequences later. Game 5. Rose plays 44 minutes. Drops 25 points. Bulls lose. Season's over. Miami goes on to lose to Dallas in the finals. Rose's body survives the playoffs. His knee holds up. The warnings didn't materialize into disaster. Not yet. And because of that, because nothing catastrophic happened, everyone, the Bulls organization, the coaching staff, even Tedeschi himself, they start second-guessing the warnings. Start thinking maybe it wasn't as serious as it seemed. Maybe Rose's body is just built different. Maybe he can handle the stress. Maybe the concerns were overblown. Summer 2011. Rose doesn't rest, doesn't take time off, doesn't rehab preventatively. He works out, trains hard, gets ready for the next season. Because that's what champions do. That's what MVPs do. They don't sit around worrying about what might happen. They prepare for what's next. 2011 to 2012 season starts. Rose is back. Bulls are favored to win it all. Everything's pointing toward Chicago's year. And for most of the season, it looks like it might be. Rose is great. Not quite MVP level again, but still dominant. Still carrying the team. Still playing heavy minutes. Still landing the same way. Still stressing the same knee. And Tedeschi's still watching. Still documenting. Still worried. But now, nobody wants to hear it. They survived last year. Rose is fine. The warnings were false alarms. Stop being paranoid. April 28th, 2012. We all know what happens. Game on the playoffs. Bulls up 12. 1 minute 22 seconds left. Rose drives. Plants. Pop knee explodes. ACL torn. Career altered. Everything changes. And in the immediate aftermath, everyone's shocked. Everyone's asking how could this happen? Everyone's treating it like a freak accident. Random bad luck. But Fred Tedeschi, sitting in that locker room, watching Rose's world collapse, he's not shocked. He's devastated. He's angry. But he's not shocked. Because he warned them. 3 times. 3 separate documented incidents. 3 chances to intervene. And they ignored all of them. Chose winning over health. Chose short-term over long-term. Chose to believe it wouldn't happen instead of preparing for when it would. The thing is, nobody blamed Tedeschi. Nobody pointed fingers at him. In fact, most people didn't even know about the warnings. Didn't know about the reports. Didn't know about the specialist consultation. Didn't know about the conversations. Because Tedeschi kept it professional. Kept it internal. Didn't go public. Didn't leak to the media. Didn't say I told you so. He just kept doing his job. Just kept working. Just kept carrying the weight of knowing it could have been prevented. 2 years later, 2014, Tedeschi leaves the Bulls. Takes a position with another team. And in his exit interview, in a conversation that was supposed to be confidential, he finally says it. Finally admits what he's been carrying. I warned them about Derrick's knee. Multiple times. Starting in 2010, I documented everything. I consulted specialists. I presented the evidence. And I was overruled every single time. Not because I was wrong, but because winning mattered more than prevention. And I've had to live with that. Had to watch a 22-year-old kid's career get derailed because nobody wanted to hear the warnings. That stays with you. That doesn't go away. The interview leaks. Not immediately, but eventually. And when it does, it changes the narrative around Rose's injury. Changes it from freak accident to preventable tragedy. Changes it from bad luck to organizational failure. Changes it from Rose's fault for playing too hard to the Bulls' fault for letting him. The backlash is immediate. Fans are furious. Media is asking questions. How many warnings were there? Why weren't they heeded? Who made the decision to keep playing Rose? Who's accountable? The Bulls organization denies everything. Says Tedeschi's misremembering. Says there were no formal warnings. Says Rose's injury was unforeseeable. Says they followed all proper protocols. Standard corporate response. Protect the brand. Deny responsibility. Move forward. But the people who were there, the people in that training room, in those meetings, in those conversations, they know the truth. The warnings were real. The risk was identified. The intervention was recommended. And it was all ignored. Because in professional sports, in championship or bust culture, player health is always secondary to winning. Always. Until something breaks. Then everyone acts surprised. Then everyone points fingers. Then everyone wishes they'd listened to the warnings they spent years ignoring. Here's the really messed up part. The really tragic part. After Rose's injury, after his ACL recovery, after he came back, the Bulls training staff completely changed their approach. Implemented new protocols. Started monitoring landing mechanics. Started limiting practice intensity. Started enforcing mandatory rest days. Started doing everything Tedeschi recommended, just 2 years too late. And those changes, those protocols, they probably prevented other injuries. Probably saved other players' careers. But they didn't save Rose's. Because his damage was already done. His fear was already planted. His explosiveness was already compromised. The warnings that could have protected him, they ended up protecting the guys who came after him. Which is something, which matters. But it doesn't change what happened to Rose. Doesn't give him back the career he lost. Doesn't erase the what-ifs. Doesn't answer the question that haunts everyone who knew. What if they just listened? What if after that first warning in 2010, they'd shut him down for 2 weeks? Run a full diagnostic. Confirmed everything was structurally sound. What if after the second warning in January 2011, they'd altered his playing style? Reduced his minutes? Implemented preventative measures? What if after the third warning, the specialist assessment, they'd taken it seriously? Made organizational changes? Prioritized Rose's long-term health over short-term success? Would his knee have still torn? Maybe. Maybe the damage was already inevitable. Maybe no amount of intervention could have changed the outcome. But maybe not. Maybe those 2 weeks of rest in 2010 would have allowed the initial stress to heal properly. Maybe reducing his minutes in 2011 would have prevented the repetitive trauma. Maybe altering his landing mechanics would have taken the pressure off that one vulnerable point. Maybe the warnings weren't just warnings. Maybe they were the roadmap to prevention. And everyone just refused to follow it. That's what haunts Fred Tedeschi. That's what he carries. Not guilt, because he did everything he could. He identified the risk. He documented the evidence. He made the recommendations. He sounded the alarm. 3 times. What he carries is the knowledge that he was right. The specialist was right. The warnings were accurate. And if people had just listened, if the organization had just acted, Derrick Rose might still be the player he was supposed to be. Might still be the youngest MVP who became a champion. Might still be the explosive, fearless, generational talent who carried Chicago to glory. Instead, he's the cautionary tale. The what-if story. The player whose career was sacrificed on the altar of winning now. And the warnings that could have saved him. 3 of them. Clear as day. Loud as hell. They're just footnotes in a tragedy that didn't have to happen. That's the real story. Not the injury. Not the comeback. Not the tears. The 3 warnings. The 3 chances. The 3 times everyone chose to ignore what they didn't want to hear. And the one trainer who tried to save a career and had to watch it end anyway, knowing he'd done everything right and it still wasn't enough. That's what nobody talks about. That's what gets lost in the highlight reels and the comeback narratives. The warnings were there, man. They were right there. And nobody, absolutely nobody, wanted to listen.